Anti-Afro Svengalis. I have a few words I need to say to you, TCTV. You are really out of line and you really need to stop. But before I address you, I want to tell those of you out there who support me about something that's been on my mind. It keeps coming up, and I'm going to share it with you. It relates to TCTV and what he's doing. I was in the fourth grade. Me and my three friends, all black girls, were tormented for an entire day, and nobody did jack shit about it. Let me tell you what happened. I'm going to say it as condensed as possible because this went on for an entire day. This white kid, and you know, you always have a kid in the class or at the school that towers over everybody. This kid was as big as a freaking tree. He decided he was going to torment me and my friends the entire day by using some song. He changed the words. He was making all these noises and talking about our butts and making all these rude comments. He had stretched out the sweater. One of my friends tried to run from him and he kept grabbing her sweater. And it got stretched out so bad by the end of the day. That was the nicest thing that happened. But he was making all these comments. He didn't get his hands on me because every time I sensed him coming, I would just go to the opposite end of the playground. He ruined our recesses. He ruined our lunch. Nobody's doing anything. What happened at the final recess that we had that day when I ran to the other end of the playground? One of the teachers finally came up and said, "What's going on with so and so?" And you know what I said to the teacher? "He's being stupid." You know what the teacher said? She basically went off on me. "You're not supposed to call people stupid." She went off because I stated that. So after school, I was already planning to go to my uncle's house. I was obviously was going to tell my parents when I got home what happened. And I remember walking to my uncle's house to get cookies that my Aunt Janine promised me. She's talking and I'm not really hearing her. I just hear talking and talking. She's talking about the cookies. She's mentioning the situation, but I'm not really hearing her. And I'm going to tell you this story, I guess, in adult mode. So I get to my uncle's house and I'm not happy at all. And they're wondering, why aren't you happy? Your aunt making these cookies for you. And my friend's sitting down at the table. She's jamming on those cookies. And she starts to tell my uncle what happened. My uncle, I'm going to try to just make the story fast, was so pissed. He was in the Navy for like 23 years, almost 24 years. He was retired. My cousin, who just got hired on a job, he's like 19, he heard me crying in the front room and they want to know what happened. They're getting scared, right? They figure out who it is. So-and-so's boy. And so just happened to be in the Navy with my uncle. The entire time they went everywhere together. Ended up retiring in the same town. They were everywhere in the Navy together. So my uncle, he did not call my mom. He did not call my dad. My uncle and my cousin hopped in the car, weren't listening to my Aunt Janine, and went to the plant where so-and-so's dad was working after he retired. And I'll tell you how I found out everything that happened. After my aunt ended up taking me home, I hear my uncle telling part of the story when I get into the house. And of course, they don't let me hang around for any amount of time. My sister ended up filling me in on the rest. So basically what happened, my uncle went to the plant and was hysterical. He knew a lot of the people there and he's demanding to get so-and-so, get so. What happened? What happened? Did somebody get hurt? So they got him and he's like going off. And it's the father of this tormenting asshole who had to calm my uncle down. You know, I don't allow this with my sons. He has, I think, 5 boys or something. None of my boys do anything like this. And he said, The school didn't call me. And my uncle's saying, I ain't talking about no GD school. I'm here telling you what your boy did to my niece. And he was just like, finally was able to calm him down, reassured him that he would take care of it. It will not happen again. He's so sorry. My mom and dad didn't even know about what was happening. My uncle didn't wait for anybody. He didn't have to call anybody. He went and he took care of the situation. TCTV, do you have that kind of setup for anybody here in these YouTube streets? Are you offering to fly across the United States and intervene when shit like this happens? When stuff takes place and your people are the ones doing it, what did you do about it? You didn't do anything. You joined in with it. You joined in. My uncle didn't need my dad. He didn't need my mom. He went and he took care of business. You aren't offering anything like that. My uncle was not going to jump on anybody, but he made damn sure he was not going to ever tolerate somebody messing with his niece. And those scenarios didn't happen very often with me and my 7 siblings. I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers. We didn't have to kick anybody's ass. We didn't have to threaten to shoot anybody. Rarely did this happen because you had something called decency and respect. And when there was a conflict, you can go and talk to somebody. You can't talk to these people. You think that me and Gerald and Lennon and whoever else was tormented, many people could actually come to you and you would do something about this? Why would we think that? You were involved with it. You were involved with all of this. So how the hell can you sit here and tell people, black folks, not to call the police, not to call child welfare? Who are you to say we can't call law enforcement? Those days that I just described apparently are gone. You try to show up to somebody's house these days, guess what you're going to get? You're probably going to get shot, even if you come in good faith. And this is the reason why I haven't even considered talking to any of these individuals who have done this. Why in the hell would I expose myself to abuse and threats? TCTV, you ran these panels. You were there. You and Dumpsy, who was a therapist. You were there. You know exactly what I'm talking about with Lennon. You know. Dumpsy, you know. And look at the situation now. Your people are being sued in federal court. What are you doing to make sure they get served properly and go into federal court and defend the shit that they did? Because this person who failed to get a restraining order against 4 of us, it's applying just to us, the judge's decision. There's no merit. The judge stated, because these are your people, the vast majority of the accusations against your people. So this person who's suing, I thought you might want to know, stated that the person has the locations of these individuals and wants permission from the court to extend the court deadlines so these individuals, your people, can be served with documents. What are you going to do to help get that done? Are you going to help facilitate that process by which these people, if they did nothing wrong, they should be more than willing to throw down thousands of dollars like I had to do to get my ass up in federal court and defend myself? Where are you in this process? Because this individual says, we have the addresses, we have the locations. So if there's any snafu with that, are you going to help out with that? These are your people. These are the things that they said. You're all up in there as well, all through that lawsuit. And the nerve you have to sit here and talk about me as if I'd done something I shouldn't have done, or anyone else. When did I ever come to your panel to you. I never talked to you. What happened with you and that other person? I have no freaking idea. It has nothing to do with me, but somehow this person found a way to get me involved with something that I have never been involved with, other than to contact law enforcement. You didn't stop the person from threatening me. You did not stop your so-called people from threatening me with sexual violence, sexual degradation. You were involved. You were doing it too. So how the hell can you come up here and act like you were so innocent you didn't do anything? You don't have any resolution to any of this shit going on. And no, I am not getting off YouTube. You say that you're a man, you would have engaged in what you engaged in. And don't sit up here and try to say you never said Gerald was gay. Did you have to say he was gay? Don't ever sit there and say you never said Lennon was gay. Did you need to say that? Do you remember all the things that you were saying with these individuals? You never told them to stop. I am not buying what you're saying about child welfare. It makes no difference. You sat on these attack panels with these individuals. You never cut them off. They did what they did. You claim you didn't agree with it, but you were still hanging out with these people. One of them you didn't cut ties with until they got into a fight with Dempsey. You didn't cut ties with someone behind the situation with CPS and them threatening and harassing people. So you coming on here trying to act like you're self-righteous and you making these statements about me calling the DEA. If I called the DEA, I would come on here and I would say it. Never call the DEA. Perhaps you're being facetious, but the shit that comes out of your mouth. And if I did call the DEA, so freaking what? What you're doing is actually witness intimidation. There is a federal lawsuit that has been filed, and you're up here trying to chastise people and tell them not to call law enforcement. What kind of crap is that? My dad also had 8 children, and he never was going to tell us, never ever, not to ask for help. In that situation, it just happened to be my uncle was in the Navy with the father of this ridiculous creep for nearly 24 years. So that worked out just fine. But you don't have a solution. You can't tell people they are unable to contact law enforcement. We need to continue to speak up because there are other people who are suffering, not even necessarily online. It could be online or offline. And you were up here hollering and screaming about people need to be canceled because they call law enforcement. It's not even that people are looking to curry favor with TCTV. This is intimidation, what you're doing. It's not legal and you need to stop it. If you decide you're not going to call the police, that is your business. That is your business if you decide you are not going to call the police, but you cannot impose that on anybody else. That is self-serving, the behavior that you are engaged with. You want to think that you're all big and bad, that you can handle every single thing that happens and you don't need any sort of law enforcement? Well, we know you're not telling the truth because you have spoken openly about filing a lawsuit against the juvenile authorities that ran that detention center in Pennsylvania. I believe it's in Pennsylvania. You stated that you were a client there. You publicly stated that, I don't know the details, but you stated that you deserve compensation based on what happened to you. I don't know your story, but you're not going to get compensation unless you talk to the authorities. So why is it okay for you to talk to authorities, cooperate with authorities because it benefits you? You're not going to get any lawsuit settlement unless you bring forth a credible case. And a credible case means that the defendants have a right to investigate. They have a right to depose you. They have a right to do all kinds of things if this is a civil case. If it's a criminal case, you can be called to testify. So you have to cooperate with law enforcement. There is no free easy legal money in that situation. There needs to be an investigation into the allegations. And this is not necessarily specific only to you. This is how the criminal justice system works. So it's okay for you to talk to authorities. It's okay for you to use the legal system. It's okay for you to file lawsuits, but we are not able to do that. We're not able to contact law enforcement. What's the difference? You're trying to put yourself above us. You cannot tell us we should refrain from contacting law enforcement. And Don, no, I'm not coming on your panel. Not with this shit. I'm not coming on your panel. TCTV would be the reason why. You should stop what you're doing. It could cause you serious trouble. If you care about anything, it should be you can be charged with witness intimidation. You have these quote unquote buddies that you ran with that are being sued in federal court. The judge denied the injunction as to the 4 other people who actually were served. We were served. And the judge addressed the restraining order that this person is attempting to put against us. And the judge made it very clearly, most of the allegations are against the people that you ran with. What are you doing about that? This is in the legal system. Your resolution is not to contact the police. You're double talking. You are double talking. How can you sit there and say that you're cool with a grown man when his wife, rightfully so, contacted law enforcement because of her child was being harassed? You're contradicting yourself. I get it. I wouldn't want problems with grown men either. There's a lot of people that don't want problems with grown men. But here's what I want to make sure you and King Kong Crazy don't think: that you can ignore grown man and come for me. That's what you guys are doing. I won't stand for that either. Just because I'm a woman and you perceive that I have some sort of weakness, that you can't step to grown man, you and KKC are too scared to answer grown man. You're too scared to answer the smoke. And you think you can put this shit on me. It is not going to work, and you need to stop, or I'm going to take legal action against you. I absolutely will not tolerate your threats and intimidation. If you want to clear yourself, get your ass into federal court and defend yourself. Quit trying to scapegoat everybody who has a right to be safe. People, listen to me. Do not let somebody tell you that you have to allow people to threaten and intimidate you, and through some bullshit, non-existent code, you are going to not call the police, and you don't have an uncle like I did. That's just one of the uncles that I had. Any one of them would have done the same thing. It just happened to be his house I went to. Nobody had to wait for my parents. He took care of business. You don't have anything like that. You're not offering protection. At least grown man has a setup and is actually offered to help people. Where are you offering to help anybody? You are still running with the people who got this crap started, and you're trying to tell us that we have to shut up. Stop mentioning my name. Stop telling lies on me. Quit saying I'm not allowed to call the police. I consider what you're doing an attempt to intimidate me, and I will not stand for it. And I hope none of you do either. Let me make sure I tell everyone what happened with that scenario, because I think it's incredibly important. I got the hugs and the kisses and the reassurances, drying my tears, telling me it's going to be okay. I got that. I also had to be taken to the emergency room because my dad didn't believe nothing happened. He did not accept that I was so upset that that teacher said I can't use the word stupid, and didn't feel comfortable with the fact that I went the whole damn day and didn't say anything. So he was convinced something happened. So everything checks out at the emergency room at the base hospital. Then comes the follow-up about how it is never acceptable to go an entire day allowing people to mistreat you. Remember, I was in the 4th grade. I know this, but if your family teaches you one lesson and they tell you something, it has to be reinforced. So that was a pretty direct and stern discussion that my dad, my mom, my uncle, and two of my cousins sat down with me and talked to me. You need to speak up. We don't care if white folks are running that school. And let me say something about the white folks. To those it applies to. We are not your slaves, Marie Slater, Stephanie Collins. We are not your slaves. You are not superior. You come in here and you start talking as if we have to freaking listen to what you have to say. Neither one of you have our best interest in mind. And the fact that you got black folks around you listening to what you say is a disgusting and vile example of what's wrong with our community. I don't give a damn that you're white. And those lessons were reinforced. You don't allow people to come up to you like we're in slavery and fill you up and touch you and treat you like you're some freaking guinea pig. That extends to verbal liberties. How many times have we heard Liz Lopez and Marie Slater call us niggers or write that we're niggers? Sounds like liberties to me. If you're dumb enough to allow yourself to be subjected to those, thinking you can get up here, lie on people, call black people dogs, say they're decompensated, you don't know shit about any of us, and you're up here taking these liberties because you are white. I don't accept that. And Marie, don't you ever send me any more messages. I don't have to answer any of your stupid ass questions. You got more than enough problems to deal with. And I want to make sure it's very clear. The situation with child welfare is by no means resolved. Nobody levels false accusations against me without me demanding a thorough and complete investigation. And that includes filing complaint against that social worker that showed up at your house because of the language she was using. You all can go in together on this complaint and defend each other. People, do not be caught up in any scenario where people are using cash apps and a raggedy ass YouTube platform to make it appear that they've got some power and authority over you. It's never going to be decided on a live stream what's going to go down. This shit has to be taken out into the exterior. No one has power. You have power over yourself. You can determine what you're going to accept, what people are going to do to you, but they do not make any decisions that impact us all. If you want to subject yourself, go right ahead. I will not be joining you. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.